Welcome. As you come in, I will. I'm trying to get my systems here in order. Let's see if we can show some of you folks here. All right, so we've got some people here. I like getting started on time, so I'm just going to roll right into the content. And if any of you would like to volunteer, just put it in the chat that you'd like to come on live if we get to that. And so what we're going to talk about in this particular session is something interesting. But before I do that, let me show you something real quick. Is that it's interesting this time of year? Obviously, people are super big. Can you guys hear me? By the way, please put it in the chat if you can hear me, so I can make sure that I know that I'm getting my message across here in the chat. Okay, great. Thank you, David. Appreciate it. Brittany, nice to see you. And so, with this particular situation, I invited 8,000 people, right? So 8,000 emails that are made up of customers, people that have purchased certain products from me either recently or years ago, right? 8,000 people. And then, now some of you may have not, but 8,000 people, out of 8,000 people, about approximately 30% opened up the email and said, "Hey, what is going on here? End of the year program. What's up with that?" And out of that 30%, around 200 actually registered for this event. And then out of the 200, we've got probably around 10 right now. So 10, I expect it to top out around 20. But those are the numbers. Now, the reason I bring this up is because as we move into 2024, I want you to be aware of numbers, because almost everything in life is dictated by numbers. And when you know your numbers and you understand how those numbers work, then you understand how you can get ahead in certain areas. And we're going to cover from a wide range. And today is the first day. Now, I'm going to do 3 different weeks. I was going to do 3 days in a row, but the reason I didn't is because with everything the way it is with the holidays and whatnot, somebody doing 3 days in a row is pretty difficult. And plus, you'll get a sense tonight and say, "Hey, I want to come back next week or the week after to get the rest of the information." It's Mindset, Mission, and Moves, MMM24. 24 is obviously 2024. So today we're going to cover the mindset. Next week, the mission, the moves. If you guys aren't interested, we might not do the second or third session, but I imagine you would be. Now, the other thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pick somebody from the audience over the next 3 weeks, and I'm going to coach them for 6 weeks. And they're going to agree to it. If they agree to it, it's going to be complimentary, but we'll record every session, and I'm going to take them through the process to get them an outcome, a result within 6 weeks. They don't have to pay me a dime. It might be somebody that I'm already coaching with. Actually, I'm not going to take somebody I'm already coaching with. I'm going to take somebody brand new, and we're going to put them on a 6-week starting in January to transform and break through, because that's really what it's all about. And that's what a new year is about. So what we're going to talk about is how you stay on that trajectory for that year, right? That's the biggest challenge that people run into is staying on top of it, right? I call this alive, right? And we're going to have some fun, but I want you to write this down. I'm here to empower myself and transform. Now, what you're going to notice is that some of the concepts that I'm going to share with you today are the same concepts I've shared in other trainings that I've done. And the reason being is because I integrate these things together because they work. And oftentimes we all need to be reintroduced to concepts in order to get them to work. It really is a factor that concepts work probably somewhere in the neighborhood of, let's say, 7 times. Once you hear something 7 times, it starts to actually work. A song, you hear a song on the radio. Once you hear it, you don't really remember it probably. Second, third, by the 7th time you remember it. Advertisement, same thing. 7 times, right? Mentor and coach. Every high performance athlete, business executive, entrepreneur, doctor, healer, actor, even stay-at-home moms need a coach or a mentor. I'm not suggesting that you have to get one unless you want to become high performance in whatever it is you do. And that's your decision. And so I'll share some things with you today because what this is designed to do is to give you a jump start. I'm not here to sell you anything. You want to talk to me about becoming a mentoring student? That's fine. It's an application process. You can't just sign up. We have to have a conversation first. But I will say this, that I am offering a special situation for individuals, an executive decision, if you will, where if you want to hire me as your coach, take a look at it. Of course, we have to have a conversation. I've reduced for this month only the monthly payments from $499 to $399. And or you can do a 1-year payment of $3,200 for the entire year of coaching and save 47%. Now, that $3,200 will be going up to $4,800 in the new year, just due to demand. And then we've got the 12-week immersion do-it-yourself, which includes the inner circle, $497, 1 payment, no coaching, right? I just wanted to let you know that right at the offset so that there's no pressure. There's no like, okay, I'm waiting for this guy to pitch me on something. It's not going to be like that at all. I'm going to tell you up front, you want to take a look at my coaching services, you certainly can. Take the benefit from it. If you don't want to, that's fine. We need to have a conversation first, and that's it. But my number one goal is for you to have a transformation or breakthrough financially, emotionally, or psychologically or physiologically, no matter how small or large. And give me your honest feedback. So I might be able to share it with others to help change their life as well. And that's really what we're going to be covering today, is your transformation. Now, every time I teach to people, I transform, I break through. I have things that become amazing to me. It's just the way it is. That's what happens in the transformation. But let me tell you about the day I almost died, 7 years old. And I lost my mother that day. From that day forward, I was never allowed to live with my mom because of what she had done to my brother and I. That's my mom, beautiful woman. But she was mentally ill, alcoholic, and she gave my brother and I tranquilizers on a Christmas Eve. And we spent Christmas Eve in the emergency room getting our stomachs pumped. Now, why do I tell you that? Because I want you to understand that we all have trauma. We've all been through some things. And my mother didn't do it maliciously. She did it because she wasn't right. And she thought, okay, my kids are acting a little crazy. Let me give them something that can calm them down, calms me down. And yeah, so if it hadn't been for an uncle picking us up for the party, there's probably a pretty good chance that my brother and I would have died, because my mother may not have had the sense or whatever. But hey, that's the deal. We all have trauma, and it's one of those things. I had 3 kids by the time I was 26 years old. I was broke, but I wouldn't change anything because I love my kids. I have 4 kids now. They're all adults. The oldest there is now, he doesn't want me to say this, but I think he's 38. he's getting up there. And the little girl in the middle, she's pregnant right now, not there. And my other son is a character, still is, even when he was young. I was separated twice, but I've been married 34 plus years, be 35 years in 2004. Relationships are never easy, but you need to decide if you're really in love or not. My wife and I are in love, and we're willing to fight for our marriage. Now, the reason, I bring these things up is I want you to understand I'm more like you than I'm not. And you're more like me, right? We're all similar. We all have things. I've been unemployed, bankrupt, Mercedes repossessed. Oh my God. Hard times don't last, but hard men and women do. And so, no matter where you're at on that scale, right? Whether it's health, emotional, family, financial, whatever the case might be, I've been there, as have others that are on this call that'll watch this afterwards. A lot of people will sign up for something like this and then they want to watch the replay. I do the same thing, so I get it. But being live is good because you get the energy. And I'm going to shoot you with a lot of energy today that's going to be good for you. I'm a best-selling author, if you don't already know that. We've got the Mind Force Library, 13, 14 books that will absolutely change your life if you not only read them, but you actually follow the principles. I have many different courses of study in esoteric training. But today we want to talk about 12 weeks to gain control, 12 months to master your power, manifest your destiny, and monetize your life. Obviously, that one says 2023, but I've got an updated version. You probably already saw it in the email that I sent around. Simple 9-step process. You've probably seen this before if you've been on any of my trainings. We'll go through this a little bit more in detail. But I do want to start with 2024 game plan. And I want to break it down and make it easier than maybe you've ever experienced it before in your life. If you ever wanted to springboard into the new year and then also have a process that allows you to stay focused and to get the results. Now, you'll notice this graphic was in the emails that I sent to everyone. I'm assuming you probably came in on an email or social media or whatever. And so you want to break your year down into quadrants of 90 days, 12 weeks each. You'll notice I say 12-week immersion because you're going to have 4 12-week immersions throughout the year. And these are 12 weeks that you're going to commit to something. You're going to commit to something. And you're going to decide what that something is. And again, it could be multiple things, right? It could be financial. It could be health, right? And so when you look at the new year, right, 2024, I break it down 30, 60, 90, right? That's 12 weeks. And I'm going to get into some of the nuances of using esoteric methods to get you the results that you want. I've got my electrolytes here, so I'm fully charged. And if you're doing energy training, you want to keep your electrolyte levels high. But 12 weeks. You'll notice I have a program called 12-week immersion. You always have a 12-week immersion. When I teach corporately, and I may have a slide in here to talk a little bit about. I teach this 12-week year concept, which is you take a look at 12 weeks as if it was a year and you build it out. And so you break it into the small increments of 30 days, 60, 90 days. And then you take the 30 days and you obviously break it into weeks. And you do the process that I've talked about many times, plan, do, review. Plan, do, review, right? Simple stuff. You're not going to get real technical information from me, but guess what you're going to get? You're going to get techniques that absolutely work. I remember going to a planning session from some famous guru type, end of the year type of thing. And it was so convoluted. I was like, man, I don't know if I could do this. And then I took another one, which was really good, but it was super detailed as well. And every time every year, I would have to go back and listen to like 12 hours of audios just to get back into understanding, which is okay. But I want this to be easy for you. 30, 60, 90 days. You look at everything in that breakout. 12 weeks, plan, do, review. Every week is a plan, do, review. Monday you plan, or Sunday. And then during the week, you're executing. And then at the end of the week on Friday or Saturday or even Sunday, you're reviewing. What did I do this week? What could I have done better? You could use it for everything. You could use it for your job. You could use it for your getting in shape. You planned to go to the gym 3 times this week. Did you do it? Once you review it, okay, I did it. I was supposed to eat this, this, and this. Did you do it? No, I didn't. Okay, we need to reset for next week. You see, when you do this process, it allows you to be able to reset on a constant basis, because we always have to reset. And so you never get upset and go, oh my God, I messed up this week. I didn't go to the gym 3 times. I went twice. And I had a hamburger in the middle of the week and I should have had chicken. It's okay. You reset, refocus, plan, do, review. These are tools designed for you to get to where you want to be. Now, one of the first things we're going to talk about today is we're going to talk about I call it financial mindset. Because when I poll everybody and say, what do you want to know about? They're like financial mindset, or a mindset to get them financially successful. If you want to put in the chat if that's something you're interested in, that'd be great. And that way I can take a look at it and see, okay, yes. And then the next after that is probably health. And then it goes from there. But mindset is all encompassing. You can teach your mindset. You can create your mindset so that you can build it in any area that you want. Financial. Yep. Why is financial such a difficult thing for so many people? Why is that? Right? And I'm going to give you a thought process as we go through this, is asking yourself questions. Right? Coaching somebody just the other day, and they said, man, I just can't seem to get the financial thing right. And I said, okay, well, tell me a little bit about that. They were earning good money, but they felt that they were not earning good money. It's all in regard to your point of view and where you're at. I just started coaching a guy, and this is going to sound so ridiculous. I mean, I think I put it in one of the emails, and the guy's worth like $30 million. 30 million. 30 million. Not 30,000, not 3 million, $30 million. And he still feels like he does not have enough. He does not have enough. He feels insecure. He works till 9 o'clock every night. Rarely sees his kids, wants to see his kids more, but he's addicted to the grind. He wants more money, even though he's got $30 million. And he's got an income that's bringing in millions of dollars per year. So again, that's a mindset issue that I'm working on with him, right? It's probably a problem most people would want to have. But why do you think he's there? Is because he's high performance. And when you're high performance, you've got some things going on that you might have to work on, right? Someone said in the chat, I overthink it. We usually overthink it. We usually overthink everything, our relationships, our finance, our health, and we don't go with the flow. We overthink it. And we're going to talk a little bit about manifestation, abundance, creation, because that's what everybody wants to do. And all the gurus out there that talk about, instant riches and abundance and law of attraction, they're not wrong, but they might be maybe presenting things in a way that's maybe not necessarily accurate, right? And so as we launch into this new year, we're going to break it into 30, 60, 90 days, 12 weeks, January, February, March. And that's what we're focused on. Now, what you should do is you should look at the entire year. I look at the first 3 months as inception, setting the foundation. So as I look at my year, I'm saying, okay, as I go into January, where do I want to be January, February, March? But I'm also looking at December. Where do I want to be in September or December? That's the integration and mastery. And then in between is cultivating your core strengths, refinement, and alchemy, right? As you start putting these pieces together, you start to understand how it works. And we're going to talk about scarcity mindset as well, because it's one of the things that hurts our world more than anything. And scarcity is not just finances, scarcity in everything. Scarcity in relationships, scarcity in health, right? Scarcity in food, scarcity in jobs, scarcity in emotional power, in energy, right? And so this is your game plan. This is your game plan over here. So this is your game plan to move forward. And this is really just a schematic that you can use. You can print it out, post it on your wall, or create your own. I get a calendar every year from one of my wife's clients, and they have a 4-month calendar. They have the current month, the last month, and then 2 months ahead. And even though I don't really post anything on there, anytime I look at things, I kind of visualize where I want to be as I'm moving forward. Makes sense, right? So let's move forward. Before we get started on some of the things, I always want to mention the 6 pillars, cylinders for success. And these are the things that are going to assist you. And should you decide to do any of the training, and if you ever want to become a Mind Force specialist, I break it down into 6 areas, which has components under each. Mindset being number 1. Mindset includes hypnotic influence, subliminal suggestions. Energy's number 2. We all need more energy, right? Focus, which is done through meditation and focus exercises. Perception, which is psychic energy. I know some of you might be going, whoa, like what am I going to do about this, right? Psychically. But we're all psychic. Manifestation, right? How do we manifest more? It's all integrates. And then number 6 is healing. Healing is varied as well. Mental, spiritual, physical, emotional, right? Healing that relationship. These 6 pillars, 6 cylinders, hold together a system that's going to benefit you. And even if you are, let's say, in corporate America, you can use this system. It doesn't really matter where you're at in terms of what you do. What matters is how you become functional in these 6 cylinders, right? Like I mentioned, the guy that's worth 30 million, he's got emotional issues in many of these areas, even though he's financially robust. And you need to really understand that. Another guy that I coached, again, earning $1 million a year, $100,000 a month. Why was he coaching with me? Why? Because emotionally, in his 50s, he was getting triggered by everything, including his family, his wife, his kids. And he said, if I don't change something, I'm going to be dead. So yeah, he's making a great income. He's got a great business. He's a wonderful guy. But he doesn't do his family any good if he drops dead because he's not able to handle the situations of life, right? It's just the way it is. And you have to embrace that concept. And so this is simplistic, but there's a lot of layers under each one of those things. A lot of layers. And we're going to talk about those layers. But imagine what your life would look like if you could create a powerful vision, unbreakable strategy, dominant mindset to set a pathway to reach your goals in as little as 90 days. Again, we're using that 90-day chunk, 12 weeks. Everything that you do, you should set that 90 days. I want you to burn that into your brain, that 90 days. Because virtually can change your life in 90 days. If you, let's say, are 30 pounds overweight, you could change your life in 30 days and lose 30 pounds. Now, obviously, if you're 100 pounds overweight, it might take a little bit longer, but within 30 days, you could create quite a big thing there. And the same thing is true financially. 90 days, you can change things. You have to have the right methods, the right approaches, and understand what you're doing in order to make that happen. So again, it's not, there's no such thing as something for nothing. And if any of you believe that, then you probably shouldn't even be here because it's not true, right? I'm going to give you the number one thing that you should write down and understand immensely. Now, here's the interesting thing. I use these little grease boards here, and I write down information, show it on the screen. When I coach somebody, I use these same things. We brainstorm, we write down concepts, and then I'll take a snapshot and text it to them. And then every week or whenever we talk, they've got these notes that I've scribbled, some probably not very legibly, and they get a chance to keep it, right? So you've got this 90-day system in place. You've got this concept that you understand, but I want you to embrace a couple things. But one of the things that I want you to embrace is I want you to embrace this mindset concept so that it'll work for you, right? That's a pretty bad drawing. I guess it's a man. But your mind is the thing that's going to propel you forward, or it's going to cause you to ball up, right? And we don't want that to happen. And so the mindset needs to be super strong. You need to understand exactly what it is that you're going to be able to do in order to move forward. No question about it. So let's see here. Imagine what your life would look like. Again, 90 days, 12-week year. I mentioned that. There's a book called The 12-Week Year. You should read it. It's a good book. I've used it in corporate trainings that I've done over the last 5 years or so. However long that book's been out, probably longer than that, almost 10 years. But financial mindset domination, money doesn't create power. Power creates money. So then the question is, how do I create power? What does that mean in my life? How do I go from zero to hero, right? It's all in here because you've got potential. Now, some of you may have a college degree, some of you may not. Some of you may have an advanced degree, some of you may not. I don't have a college degree. And in order for me to succeed, I needed to get above and beyond, let's say, somebody that went to college, right? And some of you are thinking, I didn't go to college, so I'm, behind the eight ball. It's not true. In fact, one of the guys I coach who's very wealthy, that's one of his things. I wish I had gone to college. So what do you care about college? You're earning a fortune right now. I said, let's talk about your top 5 friends that went to college and what did it do for them? With the exception of one that became a doctor, the other ones aren't even using the skills that they learned, right? So you've got to create your own skill sets. You've got to create your own pathway. And the financial mindset is putting a trajectory inside of your mind that says, okay, what am I going to do to propel myself forward? Now, if you're in your own business, you can do that. And we talked about numbers, right? I said numbers dictate. You've got to work the numbers. You've got to understand the numbers. And that if you want to earn a specific amount of money, you've got to put the numbers out there. Let me give you an example. And I'll use 2 examples, right? Let's say you have your own business, right? And let's say whatever you sell, because everybody sells something if they're in business. Let's say it's $10,000. And in order for you to keep the lights on and pay your mortgage and everything, you need to sell 20 of those units a month, right? 20 of these 10,000 units. Well, if we divide that by 20, which is usually 20 working days, that means you need to sell one of those units a day, right? And in order to sell one of those units a day, you need to do so many presentations or something to get somebody interested, right? A sales presentation, a marketing presentation. It might take you 10 to get that one. It might take you 20 to get that one. It might take you 50 or 100. But here's the thing, it doesn't matter what the number is. What matters is that you know what the number is. Because once you understand and know the number, you can effectively hit this number every day. And if you do the numbers properly, you'll probably be at 2 a day. And again, every market's different. It's a simplistic approach, but it's all about the numbers. Let me show you this. You know what these are? These are eyeballs, right? These are eyeballs. Those are the most important thing that you'll need in order to get to where you want to go financially, is eyeballs. If you're in business for yourself or you're looking to create a business, you need eyeballs. You need people looking at whatever it is that you offer. And the more offers that you put on the table, the more you can reach your numbers. Again, that is an overly simplistic approach. I get it. If you want to get a new job, you have to have more people seeing your resume. Eyeballs. If you want to find the man or woman of your dreams, guess what? It's going to take some eyeballs. You're going to have to have a lot of people possibly looking at you and saying, yeah, I like this person, or no, I don't, right? It's eyeballs. You see? It all comes down to that very simple concept. But again, we're working on a number system. See, when you work on a number system, life becomes easier. Because then you can plug and play I want to earn X amount of money. Like, for instance, I interviewed a guy the other day, and I say to him, what's your goal? I've got an idea that I know is $1 million idea. He goes, I know that millions would love it. And if we could just get a couple million people to buy this thing, we could make tens of millions of dollars. Tens of millions of dollars. I said, okay, what's your plan to get all these people to eyeballs? He says, well, it's so good that everybody will want it. I said, that's where you're flawed thinking. There's nothing like that. And when there is something like that, it takes a lot of eyeballs to get the focus on getting that to make happen. Okay? And so, yeah, you might have an idea, but ideas are everywhere. It's the execution on the idea that is the most important thing. And again, I don't want to come across like this is like a too much of a business one, because I know not everyone is in business or is business minded, but I want you to start thinking from the number standpoint. Is that when you understand that going into the new year, you have to do more. Do more. Whatever that means for you. I don't know what that means. Guy says, hey, I've got the $1 million idea. So what's your backup plan? I'm not earning the money I want to earn. I said, how much are you earning? I'm earning $50,000. Okay. How much do you want to earn? He says, $1 million. I said, okay, great. But what's your game plan to get to $1 million? For this guy, it was a fantasy. You can have a vision, but not a fantasy. Fantasy is you want to win the lottery. This guy was in fantasy land. He got a little mad at me because I said, listen, you need to set a goal that's more realistic. He said, are you saying that I can't achieve that? I said, absolutely not. But you got to have a realistic vision that your mind can accept. And we're going to talk about that in the next section when we go into some of the subliminal suggestions and so forth. Because you've got to entrain your mind to accept what it is that you want, but you've also got to understand something here. One of the biggest things is value. Value. Your value. I don't know, as I look at the people that are here on the call, I don't know what your value is. Don't know what it is. But you have a value. And everything in life is a value for value. Everything. You're married to your spouse. You're dating someone. You're working for a company. You own a business. You're a doctor, a lawyer. You're working as a plumber or electrician. You're giving a value for value. You're giving a value. You're installing somebody's lights in their home, and they're paying you with the value of money. You are dating someone, and you're giving them the value of your time, the relationship, the love, and so forth. It's a value for value exchange. Everything in life is a value for value exchange. And so a lot of times people get this thing out of whack with this abundance mechanism because they say, you know, I don't know why I can't attract anything. I don't know why my life is so bad. I don't know why. Because number one, you're committing that to verbs or to verbalizing it. That's number one reason you're having an issue. But number two is, what is your value proposition? You can't get something for nothing. Let's put it this way. Anything is possible. You can win the lottery, but not everything's probable, right? Yes, you could win the lottery, but the probability is that you won't, right? So we want to work in probabilities, not in possibilities, because probabilities are going to be more likely things that can happen in our life, not something that's more of a chance, even though it's a possibility, right? I mean, it's possible you could get eaten by a shark. What's the probability? It's not very high, but it's a possibility, right? It's possible that a meteor will come down and hit you on the top of the head as well. But again, it's not a probability. Okay? But I want you to understand your value. Everything is a value exchange. In fact, when I go into companies and I actually do coaching with them and consulting, I take their entire team and I say, I need to know the value of every single person in your organization. And I want to make it simple. What is their value? So for instance, I'll point somebody out and I'll say, what is this person's value? And they go into a big long rhetoric and I say, no, that's not what I mean. What's the value right off the top of your head? What do they bring to the table that you can immediately recognize as a value? If they cannot come up with that in a very short period of time, that person's not very valuable. Now, if they are valuable, they'll usually say, oh, this person, we couldn't live without this person because they take care of the accounting and this and that and the other. Okay, that's the value. And then you attach a value to it, an actual value. Well, you do that same thing with your life. You attach a value to your life. What is your life worth right now? Think about that. And if you want to type it into the chat, you can. What is your life worth to you? Is it high value or is it a low value? Where do you see it? And again, that's the starting point. If you see yourself as a low value, what makes you think that you're going to be able to get to the high value if you think you're low value? You've got to raise your value. You raise your value by raising your self-esteem, by raising your confidence, by raising your ability to be a high-performance person. Anyone can do it. You need the right guidance. You need somebody that's going to assist you. And again, it could be me. It could be, anyone that you get that has the credentials. But don't be so arrogant to think that you can do everything on your own. Because if you do, you're certainly not going to get there, most likely, because you don't have a mentor. You don't have somebody that can assist you in getting to where you want to go. That's really what it's about. And this financial mindset domination is creating the power inside of your mind and creating the value add so that people understand it, that they see you as a valuable proposition, right? I always say surround yourself with those on the same mission as you. What does that mean exactly? I love it. I'm growing in value as I work on myself. That's perfect, Brittany. Surround yourself with those on the same mission as you. That means that if you are on a mission to become high performance and the people that you're hanging around with are not high performance, you might need to switch up your team a little bit. And I know that sounds like a cold hard equation, but you've got to do it. I spoke to another young lady not that long ago. It was sad, actually, because she said, my boyfriend is a meth addict. My daughter is a meth addict. And I don't know of anyone in my circle or whatever that's not addicted to some kind of drugs. And I said, well, what about you? Do you do that? And she says occasionally, which I took that to mean all the time. And I said, you've got to extract yourself from that group. Your daughter, your boyfriend, whomever, you got to get away from them. Otherwise, you will continue to be like them. It's the way it is. It's principle of association. If you surround yourself with drug addicts, if you surround yourself with people that are mentally dull, then you will be, or you'll be the top person in the room full of people that aren't so sharp. You don't want to be that. You want to be the dumbest person in the room. When I go in a room, I want to be the least smart, because I want to know what these guys and gals know that are very intelligent. Not that I'm not intelligent, but there's levels of intelligence, and you can see that in some people, right? So surround yourself with those on the same mission as you. And if you have to extricate yourself from your current, people that you hang around with, you got to do it. The reason why Ivy League schools are a good investment, and I don't believe in college, is because of the relationships you develop, and to some extent other schools as well. But at least in the Ivy League schools, there's a connection base, right? It's the elite, right? Very wealthy individuals. And so when you go into Harvard, your dad knows somebody, this they know, and they can usually get you into business, into jobs, into so on and so forth. Okay? Surround yourself with those on the same mission as you. That's what they're doing in those instances. And it's a reality. And so you have to understand this concept. There's knowledge seekers and action takers. What are you? And, it's okay if you're one and not the other. A knowledge seeker is somebody that just wants to gather knowledge and information. Action takers are ones that take that knowledge and information and they execute on it. That's where you're going to get results, action takers. Now, I'm a knowledge seeker as well, but I'm also an action taker. I know a lot of people that are just knowledge seekers and they don't take the action. Well, they're never going to get the results that they ever want. And so you've got to, again, ask yourself those questions. Am I just a knowledge seeker or am I an action taker? Are you collecting knowledge and information, waiting for the perfect time to execute on it? If that's you, you need to switch things up because you're never going to be able to make it if you don't. We all have trauma, as I mentioned before, but it's time for you to let go and release past trauma. Now, I'm going to give you a simple way to do that. I'm going to give you we're going to go through several exercises today that I think you're going to find quite interesting, but let's go to the first one. And to do so, let's see here. Let's see. I am looking for my meditation room, and it doesn't seem to be here. I am wondering what's going on. My meditation room absolutely disappeared. So I'm a little shocked that it's not here. But let's see. You know what? We're not going to be able to go to the meditation room because it somehow disappeared. That's what happens when you have a studio. Sometimes it absolutely disappears on you. Wow, that is crazy. So anyway, let's going to go into the exercise here. It's called release and let go. Let go and release. And it's a simple exercise where you're using your breath. Breathe in, belly's going to go up. Breathe in, it's going to go back. And you're going to visualize as you breathe in is that you're breathing in powerful energy. And when you breathe out, you're releasing all the trauma, the anxiety, the negativity. And you just close your eyes and you just feel it run from the top of your head all the way down your body to the bottom of your feet. And you feel it go out of your feet and you push it out of your feet and you push it as far away through your house, through your apartment, whatever, wherever you're at, and you throw it away as far as you can into the woods, into a sewer. You take that negative energy and it's like this. You release the trauma. Now, there's a couple things that you're doing here that are impactful. Number one is physically you're pulling an energetic energy out of your body. You're visualizing that anxiety, doubt, negativity, whatever's in your mind, body, and spirit, and you're pulling it out through your feet. So you're using visualization, you're using verbal, and you're using physical. Now, I know this is simple, and some of you are like, that's too simplistic. Well, it's the simplistic things that work the best. And I've been doing this for 30 years. I've been doing this type of stuff actually 29 years. So almost 30. 29 years. I've been doing martial arts much longer, but I've been doing the internal martial arts for 29 years. Hopefully I don't look that old to be doing something for 29 years, right? Some of you are probably 29 or younger right now. But you just pull it down, let it release, and just tell yourself, I'm letting go and releasing of my past trauma. I'm just releasing it. It's removing itself. Lisa says, I've been heavily emotional healing and I'm ready and have been releasing. You've been taken for granted. You need to create the value for yourself, Lisa. Release the trauma. We all have it. You have it. I have it. Other people that are here have it. It's nothing to ever be ashamed of. And we all have different traumas. I find that about 60% of the people that I speak with have had some kind of sexual trauma. They've been sexually exploited. And it's more prevalent than most people know because most people want to hide it when it happens. It happened to my wife when she was 10 years old with a relative, right? So these things happen. And unless you recognize it, and then you got to release it though, because it will hold you back. And obviously somebody's trauma is worse than others. You know, I had the trauma when I was a child when my mother, gave me a tranquilizer on Christmas Eve and I almost died. That was traumatic. And it probably did affect me for many, many years. But by the same token, somebody else could go through that same thing and it could be far worse. They could let it, totally traumatize their entire life, right? And so you have to learn how to release it, let go, breathe, release, let go. And just keep telling yourself, breathe, release, let go. I'm letting go, right? We all have people in our lives that may not empower us. And again, you've got to separate yourself from those that don't empower you. Lisa mentioned a narcissist mother. And listen, you love your mother, but that doesn't mean you have to hang around with her and spend time with her if she's negative. Same thing with any relative or any friend or anyone that is pulling you down. I don't hang around with anyone that does not have a good energy. I am not going to put myself into a situation like that ever. And you shouldn't either. Oh, I will be awarding gifts at the end of the sessions in 3 weeks. Or let's see, we're going to have 3 sessions. So you might have to wait a little bit, but the thing is, you're going to get some good gifts. I want to talk about your 3 minds, the conscious, the subconscious, and the superconscious, because again, this is something that is extremely powerful. And even if you've heard it before, which you probably have, it bears mentioning over and over and over and over again, because you have to synchronize the 3 minds to get you the results that you want. So you're having emotional issues, mental issues, you're having physiological issues. It comes down to these 3 minds and having the control of those minds. The conscious mind, obviously, is what's considered the lower mind. It depends who you talk to. Some say it's a lower, some say it's higher. But the fact of the matter is, the conscious mind is what you recognize, right? Subconscious is what you don't recognize consciously. It's under the level of conscious, unconscious, subconscious, subliminal, right? That's where we're going to affect. And then you've got this superconscious mind, which is a mind that, when used properly, can bring to you the manifestations that you desire. But in order to use the superconscious mind, you've got to have your energy, your mindset, your spirit all lined up, working together to actually access that other mind. So if you've got trauma and you've got worries and doubts and fears, you're never going to be able to really access that subconscious mind in the way you want, or the superconscious mind, because you are not. It's like one of these what do you call them? Locks, right? Where you're turning it. And if you got the one combination, the conscious, then you got the subconscious, and then you turn the other one for the superconscious, and they all lock and they open, then you've got that combination. But if you're missing a couple of the pieces, it's not going to work. And that's where the concept of the energy comes in, is that superconscious mind. And a lot of times people just don't get it because they've never experienced it. But you can do it. And you're going to do it through meditation. You're going to do it through energetic exercises, psychic training, manifestation training. These are all specific elements. And these are exercises and techniques you have to use. It's not just a passive type of thing. So as we look at this financial aspect, one of the things I wanted to share with you is what is your risk tolerance? When you think about being financially successful, you have to look at your risk tolerance. What is your risk tolerance? And I'm going to scale it out on a scale of 1 to 10. Low being 1 to 4. Medium is 5 to 7. High is 8 to 10. High is 8 to 10, right? So what does this exactly mean, right? What is your risk tolerance when it comes to your life? What are you willing to risk? And I want you to think about this right now. And if you want to put in the chat, if you feel you're a low, medium, or high, you could do that. Low meaning you don't like to take a risk at all. You get a job, you're going to hold on to it forever because you're afraid of losing what you have. You don't want to risk it to go to something better, possibly. Medium, you're a decent risk taker, but you're not going to invest or even risk, a lot that you have to get something more. You're kind of mid-range. But high risk taker is somebody that's willing to risk it all. An example would be Elon Musk. Elon Musk, when he left PayPal, he got about $100 million payout. He immediately took that $100 million, not 1 million, not 10 million, $100 million. He reinvested it into Tesla, SpaceX, and several other companies, and he had no money left. He literally had to borrow money to pay rent. He's a super high risk taker. He's probably a 9 out of 10. Now, that's a mindset. I have another friend named Matt. Matt is a high risk taker. He took all of his money, all of his real estate investments, and cashed it in to start a business, a pizza business. And it wasn't just any old pizza business, but he had an idea it was going to be one of the best pizza restaurants in Georgia. And he created this pizza with a bar, 50 beers on tap, and he and his wife worked their heart out, but he invested everything. He took his kids' college money. He took everything and poured it into this business. Took the risk. And he got the reward. Now he's super successful. But you have to take a look at your risk tolerance and say, how can I risk more in 2024? Now, again, there's a difference between a risk, a calculated risk, and just throwing things to the wind. You certainly don't want to do that. But obviously, Elon Musk, he takes calculated risk. Number one, he's super high intelligence. So he has a lot of faith and confidence in himself, and he takes that calculated risk. So you really want to be more on the medium, 5 to 7 to the high versus low, because low just means you're not going to be looking to take any kind of risk. Which means if you don't take any kind of risk, you're never going to get a reward. Just the way it is. You've got to take your risk tolerance and start moving it. If you're low, you move it to medium. If you're medium, you try to move it to high. Now, you can go back and forth between low and medium, medium and high, based on what you're doing. But again, not everything that you risk has to be catastrophic. And I'm not suggesting that. But I'm suggesting it's a mindset. of a risk taker, of saying, okay, let me think about this. What could I risk more in 24 than I did in 23 or 22 or ever? I do it all the time. Where could I risk? Could I take some money, invest it, risk it in a business? Should I do that? Right? And the risk taker says, let's do it. Let's get the result. Right? And so you have to train your mind. Don't think that it's just natural, because it's probably not. You got to be a risk taker. Another friend of mine from high school, Pete, my buddy Pete, smart guy, went to Carnegie Mellon, got out of school, got into the computer space, and started working for an advertising company in Pennsylvania. And because he was so smart, he was the guys that were he and his team were the guys that put together the analytics for insurance companies that are mailing out all of these advertisements, right? And in order to do that, just like I talked about in the beginning, you have to know your numbers. But they knew the numbers. And then there came a point where they said, you know what? We know the numbers so good that we think we can do it better and cheaper than the company we work for. So they essentially quit their jobs, started a company that was going to compete against the company that they just left. Again, it was a risk. They could have fallen flat on their faces. 3 guys started the company. 3 guys are multimillionaires today because they took that risk, right? Now, I'm sure there were some people that he talked to about it and they said, don't do it, Pete. You know, you got a good job. You're making 6 figures. Stay there. He took the risk, and today he lives a lifestyle, probably one of the best lifestyles I've ever seen. He's got a huge yacht down in Florida, beautiful mansion on the beach in Florida. He's got a hunting cabin in Arkansas that he built. He owns 20 acres of prime land that he stocks with fish and deer and the vegetation that animals and fish love, so that he can go up there and hunt. And he will go up there and he will hunt from like November till January. Essentially leaves his family with the exception of Thanksgiving, Christmas, and New Year's, and he's just hunting. That's what he does for 3 months. And he probably does it more months than that, but that's he loves doing it. And he bought himself freedom to do it. So understand this risk tolerance. It's important. So as we get into this risk tolerance, so let's talk about the next level, which is subliminal affirmations for wealth. I use this graphic, even though it's a little hokey, but it's that subliminal suggestion, that hypnotic influence. And hypnotic influence is the ability to manipulate somebody with your words, with your body language, with your visualizations, with your energy. And so I want to go into detail on subliminal affirmations because I want you to understand how powerful these are. If you don't understand how powerful they are, you need to integrate them into your life immediately. Now, these things aren't something that you just do once in a while. These are things that you do every day. This is like breath. Subliminal suggestions are breath. They are water. They are sustenance for your mind. If you think they're not, you're wrong. I don't mind telling you that. This is the key, but it's the key that most people won't do because it takes, again, this is work. But let's talk a little bit about it. Money flows to me effortlessly. You like how that sounds? Money flows to me effortlessly. Now, what's the visualization on that, right? That money is just flowing to you effortlessly. Everywhere you go, money's flowing, right? Now, some of you can't visualize that because you don't have a high value of yourself. But when you create a high enough value for yourself, you see that money flowing. There's a lot of money in this world. Everywhere I go, money starts to flow. It means everywhere you go. You go to the store, you go to the library, you go to visit somebody's house. Everywhere you go, money starts to flow. Everywhere you go, I go, money starts to flow. Every step I take, the more money I make. Every step I take, that means every time I step, the more money I make. How can that be? Again, every step I take, the more money I make. Every step you take, the more money you make. You see, when you say these over and over and over again, your subconscious starts to believe it. And then when your subconscious starts to believe it, it starts to build up this value that you could then present to someone, to a company, to a process in order to create the value that you desire and deserve. Every breath I take, the more money I make. You're getting to see the concept here. Is that the money consciousness is all encompassing. It's not just, when I go to work, I make money and I get a paycheck. No, this is all encompassing. Your body, mind, and spirit are encompassed into this financial mindset. And it has to be that way. Anyone that's successful has this type of immersion in their mind. That's why I wrote the book called Immersion. That's why I use that concept of immersion, because to be successful, you have to immerse yourself into a concept. You want to be a good athlete, you immerse yourself into that sport. And you become obsessed and immersed. That's the only way you get good at something. You want to be an artist, you're painting all the time. You want to be a doctor, you're going to school, you're going to your medical school, you're doing your internship, you're immersed in the process. I'm attracted to money, and it is attracted to me. So again, it's a two-way street. I'm attracted to money, and it's attracted to me. I'm attracted to money, and it's attracted to me. There's no disconnect. We're in love, right? I'm attracted to money and it's attracted to me. Now you could say the same thing. Hey, I'm attracted to females and females are attracted to me. You could say the same thing with that, right? You could say, I'm attracted to high-paying jobs and they're attracted to me, right? So you could use this concept in many different aspects. Every day, in every way, I get richer and richer. And again, we are talking about financials, but a lot of these affirmations can be used for multiple aspects. Richer and richer can be richer in relationships, richer in family, richer in spiritualness, richer in emotional power, richer in energy, richer. You put the definition of what you want that to be. It doesn't have to be just this. Everywhere I go, money finds me. So even if you're hiding from money, money finds you. You can't hide from it. Everywhere you go, money finds you. Wouldn't that be interesting? Is that everywhere you go, no matter where you go, money finds you. It keeps creeping up on you. It's that creeper that you love, right? I have access to this money tree whenever I want it. During my daily money meditations, I do affirmations. Now, we're going to talk about the money tree in just a few minutes, and that's where I got that from. Every day, in every way, I get richer and richer. Now, that is one that I did repeat. I'm a money magnet. Money is attracted to me, and I'm attracted to it. Again, I'm repeating some of these. Money finds me everywhere I go. I receive unexpected checks in the mail. It's happened to me. I've received unexpected checks in the mail. I receive unexpected deposits in my bank account. Expect it. I am made of money. I'm sure many of you, like myself, grew up in a household where the family said, hey, we're not made out of money. We can't get you that bike. We're not made of money. And you thought, it seems like my friends' parents are made of money. They can get bikes and video games. But you say you're made of money. That's what you want to do. You want to be made of money. There is a poverty versus a prosperity consciousness, abundance consciousness, scarcity consciousness. And so, again, if you've got a scarcity consciousness, you've got to remove it. You got to replace it, right? Worrying, critical behaviors, holding grudges, having a sense of entitlement. Oh, they owe me this. No, they don't. You blame others for failures, like, it's not my fault. It's that guy's fault. It's the man's fault. You fear change. Know-it-all behavior. I met a guy that said, yeah, I like what you're saying, but. And I said, what's the but? I said, are you the but? He says, what are you talking about? I said, I'm giving you good advice and you're just saying but, like you don't want to take it. You've got to take advice. You secretly hope others fail. You see, that's an energetic connection. When you secretly hope others fail, it takes energy away from you. Hoarding behavior. You ever seen those show Hoarders, where people are hoarding stuff and it's disgusting? People will hoard their money and hoard their things, hoard their valuables. And what it does is it dissipates their energy and ability to create abundance. Feeling like you won't have enough. Again, same thing. Blame circumstances for things. Oh my God, I'm in bad circumstances because I'm this, that, or the other. I was born in this neighborhood, this family, this thing. It has nothing to do with it. It's all about you. It doesn't matter where you were born or who you were born to or what color you are or race or creed or anything else. What matters is your ability to focus on the prosperity and not scarcity. You can find anyone just like you, that's your race, that's your gender, that's your political persuasion, that's your height, your weight, your nationality, your language. You can find somebody in all of those things that's a high performance person and extremely successful that came from lesser situation than you. You can find them. You should research them, in fact. You should know that you are valuable. And the only way you're going to do that is by doing the research. The energy flows where the attention goes. And if the attention is going to negative and scarcity, and oh my Lord, it's going to be a bad year. They said the recession's coming or the recession's here. Oh my God, what am I going to do? That's not going to cut it. That's only going to attract that which you are flowing out. It doesn't matter if there's a recession because you can control your situation in that recession if there is one or will be one or maybe never will be one. Don't even go there. Don't even go there. Instant negative mind force is omnipotent. Fear, anger, worry, doubt, anxiety. It will rule your life if you let it. And many people do. Don't let it rule your life. It's not worth it. Instant positive mind force is omnipotent. Faith, love, happiness, confidence, and abundance. So again, the energy works like a double-edged sword. However you want it to work is going to be how it works. And you're sending this energy out. If it feels good, has faith, confidence, happiness, love, and abundance, it's going to bring to you that which you want and even more. If it's negative, you're going to get negative results. I mean, how can you ever expect to get positive from negative, or vice versa? There's no way. Evil cannot coexist with good. It just can't. And there is evil in this world, and there is good in this world, and they can't coexist. I mean, they can coexist, but they can't be in the same room together without, there being an issue. So I want to teach you something. I want to teach you how to create an abundance vortex, right? A vortex is like, it's almost like having a hurricane inside your body that creates this energy. I call it the 3 to 10x, because you can create your own abundance if you'll send this vortex out. But again, in order for it to work, you must have your energy aligned properly. If your energy is of the negative nature that we just talked about, the fear, the doubt, the anxiety, all those things, and you take this vortex and you send it out, guess what it's going to bring back? More of that, which will totally kill exactly what it is you're looking to do. So you've got to create this vortex, and you imagine this vortex going out and serving you in a way that is powerful, right? You could lay down in your bed and you can imagine this vortex going out and attracting to you the things you want. Now, I call it 310x, because I believe that the energy that I give, I'm going to get back 3 to 10x. For example, a lot of times people will say to me, why do you do these training sessions? You could easily charge money for them, which I do sometimes, obviously, right? Because we all have to earn a living. But here's what I know is that when I give to you as a group, as an individual, as a person, I know that I get 3 to 10x back. May not get it back today or tomorrow, but I'm going to get it back. I'm going to get it back in 24 and maybe 25. It doesn't matter. I know it's coming back 3 to 10x, because I worked with this one person over here and I helped them transform, break through. I get the benefits of that somewhere, some way. Maybe directly from that person, but quite possibly most times it's not. I want you to start thinking that way, because you plant in the east, you reap in the west. You plant in the south, you reap in the north. It's the principle of reaping and sowing and reaping. You have to understand it. And this abundance vortex will attract you whatever you want, but you got to have the right mindset, the right energy. You have to have clean energy as well. If your energy's dirty, meaning you've got all this negative garbage in your energy, it's not going to work. I've seen people ruin their lives because they use this type of high-level technique and didn't have the right mindset. And so it totally backfired on them. Totally. I mean, just was terrible. But that's the way it is, right? That's the way these things are. But I always believe that 3 to 10x. So again, understand this concept, because it's so valuable. Is that if I give you love, I believe I'm going to get 10x back of love. Maybe not from you, but from somewhere. If you try to give me negative, let's say you try to give me hate, I believe that my energy is going to 10x you that way. Now, if you give me love, you get 10x love. You want to give me some money, you're going to get 3 to 10x that money. I believe that. I also believe that when I give money. I just gave money to somebody that was in need, and I gave them the money, and they said, I don't know if I can accept this. And I said, doesn't matter. It's already left my hand. Once it leaves my hand, it becomes yours. If you no longer want it, that's okay, but just pay it forward, because I recognize the fact that once I give, I know I'm going to receive at a later date, maybe as early as tomorrow. But the fact of the matter is, I gave, and the blessing is already being harmonized in the universe. It's already been planted in the mind of God and the universe and all the powers that be. It's already been planted. It's already been set in motion. And I triggered it by giving. You see? So never be afraid to give, but you've got to give with an open heart. You know, it's not, I'm going to give it to you, and if you don't pay me back, or if I don't get it immediately back, you know, I'm going to be ticked off about that. No, that's the wrong attitude. And if you have an attitude like that, forget it. You're not going to get anywhere. You're definitely not. And that's sad. But hopefully that you won't do that. So becoming preeminent is distinction, excellence, supremacy of skills. Again, it's creating that value. Skills that will separate you from others. So again, you want to earn more money? What's your skill set? What is it that you're bringing to the table, to the world, to the universe, that's going to supersede something else? Like, for instance, a lot of times people say, oh, I don't, that singer or that actor or that athlete, they don't deserve to be paid millions of dollars. But you see, they're being paid in relation to the value that they bring to their constituency. They fill stadiums, they're making billions of dollars because they're putting, 60 or 100,000 people in a stadium, and they're creating a value for that person of some sort, right? It's the way it goes. It's the way you have to see it. Even those who think they already understand the matrix of the esoteric or the internal, you still have to gain knowledge. Nobody knows everything. I've been doing this almost 30 years, and I don't know it all. And believe me, if somebody comes to me and says, hey, I've got this technique, I'll learn it, and I'll test it. And if it works, I'm gonna use it. And if I try it and it doesn't work, then that's okay. But I went about and did it. That's the way it is. Now, no matter what the new endeavor is, no matter what the cost, there's a natural fear of the unknown. Again, this comes back to that concept of the risk taking, right? Of the risk tolerance. No matter what you do going into 2024, there's going to be challenges. There's going to be bumpy roads. There's going to be some things that are going to kick you in the what. You're going to take a punch in the face. You're going to get a slap in the face. You're going to get a cold rush of water thrown on you while you're sleeping. It's funny. I was coaching with another gentleman who owns a business, and he says, I got to tell you, Al, he goes, 23, I expected to be a banner year. I had a game plan. I knew it would work. It had been working for me. And he said, the shit hit the fan, so to speak. He said that things fell apart. And he says, I literally started feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to lose my business. He says, I really got to that point where I'm panicking. He said, but then I realized I need to reset my expectations. And see, he and I working together, now there's two of us, and we're saying, okay, what do we need to do to get the wheels back on this thing, to propel it forward, to set a trajectory for 2024? So guess what? He realizes that 2023 kind of sucked. He got the wind knocked out of his sails. He got his legs chopped out from underneath him, so to speak. But guess what? He recognized it and is taking the proactive measures to make 24 better. Right? That's the unknown, right? He had some stumbling blocks. This is a guy that's pretty successful, very successful, in fact. So don't think that it just happens to you, because that's not true at all. I've had setbacks. I won't even tell you about some of the setbacks because, number one, it wouldn't help you to know about them. And number two, I don't like to bring my setbacks back up unless they're going to be helpful for somebody, because there's no reason bringing up the negative when I want to be positive, right? And that's the way you should be too. You need to understand these concepts so that you can be there, right? So let's say in 2023, let's say 2023 wasn't that fantastic. It was one of these kind of years. And you look at 2024 and you say, okay, how do I ensure that 2024 is one of these kind of years? How do I make that happen? How do I make sure that it's going to work, right? And that's what it comes down to, is understanding that. And that's why we're planning out the year. And that's why I want you to start thinking about this first 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, right? You want to get in shape. Everybody wants to get in shape in January. I mean, is there anybody that doesn't? What is your goal though, right? And what's going to make that goal real, right? What's going to make that goal worthwhile? Here's what it comes down to. Motive. That's what it comes down to. Motive, motivation. What do you want? Okay? The vision. Right? If you don't have a motive to lose weight, you won't. There's no reason to. Right? I mean, there has to be enough pain to move you forward. Same thing's true with making money. If you're comfortable with where you're at and you don't really care, you're not going to propel yourself forward. Why would you? I'm going to give you a formula that's going to work for you. It's worked for everyone that I've taught it to, that's actually used it. And that's this, is that you've got a dream, right? Or a vision. What is a dream or a vision? A dream or a vision is really something that you desire, right? It could be financial freedom. It could be time freedom. It could be a concept of being, financially successful and spending days the way you want to spend it. And that's like the dream. It's a big thing, right? And then there's a goal, right? A goal is like, what do you need to do for the goal to get to the dream? So let's say the dream is a house, a nice house. And let's say it's a $1 million house or $500,000 house, whatever, doesn't matter. The goal to get to the dream is what you need to make, to earn, to get to the vision, right? If you're looking to purchase a $500,000 house, maybe you need to be earning $100K. So the goal is the $100K, right? That's your goal. But then you've got a plan to get to that $100K, right? And that plan might be that, you get a new job that pays $100K, or you take a sales job to earn enough money to earn $100K, or maybe you have two jobs that you make $50K. Yeah. And then you have action. Will you take the action to make the plan work, to get the goal, to get the dream? All simple, but not easy, right? Now you can use the same thing for getting in shape. right? The dream or vision is that you want to look body beautiful, male or female. What's the goal? You want to lose 30 pounds. What's the plan? Work out, eat right, right? 10,000 steps a day or something, right? And then the action is, again, doing it. It's the same thing. Same thing as the plan, do, review almost. Little more meat on the bones. But that's simplicity. Let's not make life hard. Let's make it simple. But it's having these blueprints in place that you can look at and say, okay, I'm on track, I'm off track. Plan, do, reviews, on track, off track. I've got the dream. Why now? Like I've said this before, if you've ever known anyone that's gotten divorced, relationship breaks up, and they were overweight, guess what? All of a sudden, within a month, they're 30 pounds lighter, because all of a sudden their heart was broken, and they lose weight because now they're back out on the market. I've seen it happen many times, and I'm sure you have too if you think about it. It's just the way it is. It's just the way it is. But you've got to understand these concepts. And as far as fear is concerned, you've got to embrace the fear. Embrace the fear and take action. Again, that comes back to that risk, embracing fear and taking action. We all have fears. Fear is not something that you just overcome. You have to take action to overcome. Action cures fear. So if you're afraid of doing something, do that thing, whatever it is. You're afraid to talk to people? Do it, right? You're afraid to, risk? Do it. That's the take action part. That's going to help you get from where you want to go. Take bold action. If you haven't seen these 4 videos that I did them a number of years ago, but I still use them because they're still appropriate. Again, vision, mindset, strategy, skill set. These are the 4 elements. And if you want to wrap it all together, you would take accountability. And if you and I work together, that's where I come in, accountability. We work on your mindset, your vision, the strategy to get you to where you want, help you to develop the skill set, and then accountability. I'm going to keep you on task. That's the ticket. You want to keep yourself on task in order to get the results that you want. If you don't keep yourself on task, you won't get results. That's just the way it is. It's unfortunate that it would have to come down to that, but it is what it is. Now, let's see here. I want to teach you an exercise that I think you're going to like. It's called the money tree exercise. And since we're talking about finance, we're going to talk about creative visualization, meditation. Now, by the way, I'm going to make an offer to everyone that's on this call to get access to a program I have called Quantum Maximizer. It's usually $29 a month. You can pick it up for $19 a month, or one payment of $99. And what the Quantum Maximizer does is it's a program that's really designed to keep you on a meditative program And several of the meditations we're going to talk about right here are in that program. And they're meditations I still use to this day. And it's well worth the $19 a month or the $99 a year. It's really one of the best programs that I've created, and I haven't really promoted that much. But one of the things that you'll get is a money tree meditation. Let me tell you a little bit about the money tree meditation. So I'm going to take you through a short version of the money tree meditation. I want you to visualize what we're going to be talking about here. But I want you to imagine, if you want to close your eyes, you may do so. I want you to imagine walking out your front door. And as you walk out the front door, you notice a huge tree, like a redwood tree that just keeps growing and growing. And on that tree, the leaves are $100 bills. And as you go out to that tree, you sit by that tree, and the tree gives off this energy of abundance and prosperity and wealth. And as you sit under the tree, the leaves, which are money, fall on top of you. In fact, they just don't fall on top of you, but they fall into you. You are now made out of money. This money tree is there for you whenever you need it. You go to the money tree with the expectation that it's yours. And like a redwood, it has almost an unlimited amount of money. In fact, your entire life is unlimited when it comes to money. See the tree, thank the tree for being there. Look up at the tree. Feel the wonderful energy that it gives off. And as you walk towards your house, you look back at the money tree, knowing that it's there for you all the time, anytime that you need it. And you are prosperous and abundant. You walk back in your house and open up your eyes. So that's the money tree exercise, essentially. It's the shorter version of it. But as you can see, what I've written out there is the money tree. Now, I know to some of you that may seem silly, but what you want to understand is that your mind is going to go in the direction that you send it. And if you propel it in a direction for prosperity and abundance, that's where you're going to end up. Whereas if you set your mind up for the negative, the worry, the scarcity, that's where you end up. And so you've got to take this conscious approach to it and harness that power, because it's not going to happen by itself. Now, it depends. Like if you were raised in a family, like I have several friends that were raised in families where the expectation to earn money was there. I didn't grow up in a family like that, but I knew several of my friends had parents that they were in business, they expected money. They expected money all the time, and lots of it. And many of those kids are very successful today. I have a good friend of mine that's in the jewelry business, and he started out as I don't even think he barely graduated high school. Kid never showed up for class. He was in the slow class. And today he's one of the street smart guys that are earning a phenomenal income. Lives on the water in Long Island. Successful. But if you met him in high school, you would have thought, this guy's never going to make it. You could hardly put a sentence together. But that's the money tree. And it's concepts like this that are going to allow you to get the results that you so desire. And when you put yourself into these scenarios, your subconscious is going to believe exactly what you tell them. Now, again, we've gone a lot into the mindset today. I spent a lot of it in terms of the financial, because that's what a lot of you asked for. And when we get together next, we're going to really talk about the mission, which we did today as well. And that mission is, what is your mission? So I want you to think about that, right? Because we talked about mindset, mission, and then we'll talk about the moves. We've talked about moves today too, obviously, but we're going to go into more detail. But the mission is even more detail. What is that mission? What does that mean to you? Right? You're going to put meat on the bones. Do you like, a lot of people I train, they want to get really good with the chi and with the hypnotic influence. If that's your mission, what does that look like to you? What do you want to be able to do? What kind of lifestyle do you want to have? What does that mission mean to you? Do you want to help people? You want to, you want to be a mother and a father, and you want to have kids. What do you want to do? Right? What's your mission? Or maybe you're past that. What is your second mission now that you're in your 50s or 60s? Right? I'm going to be 60 next month. I don't think I'll ever stop having missions that are going to propel me forward to do things I want to do. But understand that the concepts that we discussed today from the mindset perspective can be used, again, for your health, for your relationships. I'm going to give you the one key word, which we'll go into more next. You want to fix your relationship. There's one way to do it. It's called love. And the more love you put out, the more you're going to get back. And even if you feel like you're not getting the love back, you can still love more. Now, sometimes if you're giving out love and you're not getting it back, maybe that means it's time to go find somebody that you can love that can give you the love back. So again, sometimes things are not easy, right? And sometimes you have to make decisions that are not easy. But this one word, and we'll talk more about that next, is powerful. It's more powerful than anything else that you can have in your life. So, we're going to go into more of that next week. At this point, I'd like to open it up to any questions. If anybody has a chat question, or if you want to come on with your microphone, I'm happy to take any questions. If not, if you don't have questions, we will end it for tonight. Hopefully, I gave you some value that you could use. If you don't mind, if you could type into the chat if this was a valuable session for you, and maybe what resonated with you. What was it that made sense for you, and what might I present for you next time that would make even more sense? If you could just type something in the chat, that would be really helpful for me. Go ahead. I'm not seeing anything in the chat. You want to type in the chat, please? Tell me if this was okay. Awesome. Excellent. Yeah, the meditations are key. You want to integrate meditations into your life daily. And there is a lot. There's a lot of value. I'll have a replay so you can go through it and the slides and whatnot. And really what it comes down to is understanding that you have to set up a protocol for your own life. And that includes energetic exercises, meditations, and then the framework for your mind, the mindset domination, hypnotic influence, subliminal suggestions. And by starting to create in those three, you start to develop this expansion that transcends into that psychic aspect, and then it allows you to expand that manifestation and abundance. And then if you ever want to become a healer, you've got all these mechanisms that you're already using in those other cylinders in order to make yourself, even stronger. So even though I call them esoteric, and esoteric just simply means that it's hidden, it's not something that's readily available, which when you learn my methods, you're learning methods that are secret methods. In fact, a lot of the stuff that I teach, at this level is pretty much, open to the public. But when you work directly with me, a lot of the real, let's say, secretive information is handed out only orally, right? Only verbally as we develop a relationship. It's just the way it is, right? It makes sense. That's how I was taught by a lot of my instructors. It's kind of like, hey, can you teach me this? They're like, no, you're not ready for that yet. And when you're ready, I'll teach it to you. I mean, I can't tell you how many times I was training with these gurus back in the day, 25 years ago. And, I'd be videotaping with my video camera that was like this big. And they would say, listen, could you do me a favor? Shut that off. Because this next part, I don't want it on camera. And I was like, wow, this must be pretty cool stuff, right? And it was, these are energetic exercises that do some pretty crazy stuff. But it is what it is, So there are secrets out there. If you're willing to embrace it and move forward, you can get all the secrets that you can. So anyway, I've enjoyed sharing this information with you. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm happy to help you out. Just remember that I do have the special Oh, thank you very much. I appreciate that. Yeah, flight time, it is about putting into flight time. If you're not willing to put in the flight time or execution time, you just won't get the results. But again, there's nothing in life that you can't there's no something for nothing. You have to put in the flight time. You have to put in the effort. You want to get in shape, you got to go to the gym. You want to be good at, if you wanted to be a good surfer, example, I'm not a surfer, but if I wanted to be a surfer, guess what? I'd have to go out and surf like every day to get good. If I wanted to be a good golfer, you golf every day. The guys that are good at golfing golf every day, right? Um, you take that, transcend with any kind of activity. That's what it comes down to. You've got to put in the flight time. And just right, I read it that right on my board there, flight time. Put in the flight time. You should put it on your desk. Put in the flight time. Because it's the key. All the other stuff I talked about today means nothing if you don't execute. You could have a great plan, you could have a great strategy, you could have a great vision, you'd have unbelievable techniques, you could have the best books in the world, the best knowledge, but if you don't execute and put in a flight time, it means this, because that's what you're going to get. You have to execute. And moving into 24, here we are on the 14th. You've got, a good 2 weeks before the new year to kind of harness your mind to say, okay, let's execute in 24, right? And start setting up the plans and make it easy in the beginning. Again, that first 30, 60, 90 days, you want to make it as simple as possible because, again, you can't push yourself so hard that you wear yourself out. For example, what happens usually in January, people get they get the bug to get in shape, and the first couple days they work out so hard that they can't work out for another week because they're so sore. And what happens is there's no continuity, and by the time that week comes around, they're out of the gym. But it would be better if you were to start January, first week in January, doing like a 10-minute workout for the whole week, every day, 10 minutes. And then the next week you do a 15-minute workout for the week, right? Every day for the week. But you're doing it continuity every day. And then the next week you move it up to 20 minutes. And last week of the month, first 30 days, you're doing a 30-minute workout 5 days a week. But you didn't start there. You started with 10 minutes or 5 minutes even. And you start to work. You can't do a full meditation, do a 5-minute meditation, 10-minute meditation, 5-minute energy exercise, and just incrementally move. But you got to execute and start small. Somebody want to say something? Lisa, you want to say something?
I'm here.
All right, go ahead.
Am I on the mute here?
Yeah, you're live. You're live.
Oh,
Yes.
Great. I didn't know. I'm trying to navigate my way through here. Yeah, I really appreciate you inviting me so much to this presentation that you are giving. Um, I am, let's see, right now I am 59 years old. And I'm looking for, I guess I'm trying to get a new spark in my life. A spark back to, let's see, I had a personal tarot reading done, and he went over a lot of these things. There was two questions that I had asked, and it was about what is my purpose and should I move?
Right.
And it said, no coincidence that there are a lot of things that you said in this presentation that he even said himself. So I'm like, okay, wow, I must be on the right track. I'm making the right choice here. So, um, you know,
What do you do right now?
what do I do right now? Oh, well, I am living in a place. Let's see. My husband passed away. His life was cut off very short at 55.
Okay.
And
Sorry to hear that.
15 years. Well, anyway, yeah, I had wow. Um, and what ended up happening is right now I'm living in a place in Florida um, that is connected, attached to a family member of mine, my mother,
Okay.
and she has a person that well, there was a lot of disharmony with all that this stuff that happened right after she being the narcissist that she is. It I really can't go into all this right now.
Well, that's
It's
how you don't have to. I mean, Lisa, it comes down to this: is that everyone has a specific situation that they're in. Like I said, some people have it, better than others. You just have to formulate a game plan of what you want to do, and if you have to
yeah,
move, you got to move.
right. The game changer would be if it seems like I don't know the energy maybe around. Yeah, there's some things that haven't been very that has kind of violated my well, like I said, game changer here. I need a game changer, and I need a game changer.
Well, you are the game changer, Lisa. You really are. You're the
Thank
person that can make it happen, and the only way you can do that is by taking bold action. And if you're in a situation that doesn't serve you, whether it's a relative or not, it sometimes is wise to move. And I've counseled many people to move because that might be in their best interest, right?
it's
And
yeah, the circumstances a lot. He suggested that I did that because of the energy. He
I,
said because I can't move around, I don't have enough confidence in myself. I don't have control over anything. I don't have control over my environment, which I don't.
well, the first thing you need to do is get control under your environment. Are you earning money right now?
No, I'm not. I'm
Okay.
getting some. Well, no, I don't have to. I'm not earning any money, but I want to earn money.
Okay.
I do get allowance from a gift, from a trust, but that is not stable. I mean, they don't have to give that to me every month.
Okay. So why not just get a job right now?
You know, I was gonna do because I had a lot of ideas and I would put them off. I had a lot of thoughts about doing things and I put it off, put it off, procrastinate. It got to a point where I was just like, what is? And my personal therapy had said that he said you're procrastinating. I don't know, negative self image. I've done a lot of work on myself while I've been here. It's not like I don't work. I'm not earning money, but I've been working on myself too.
Right.
I
So
learned a
here's
lot about codependency. I learned about a lot about narcissism. I've learned about a lot of things that I've gone. It's been going on in my life since I was a child.
Yeah. I mean, listen, my advice is to and you take it for what it's worth, is that like I said, you need to take action. In order to build up your self-image and your confidences, you need to become self-sufficient, and you can work on yourself, while you're earning money. And even if you're starting at a lower level, you need to do that because uh, we all need to have self-respect and self-worth. And
Right.
sometimes if you're not in a position like that, you won't have that. And that's what needs to be done. And I would say do that, as soon as possible, and then look
Well,
at the poss.
I need a mentor too. I need someone that can give me some advice.
Well, I'm happy to assist you with that advice. Certainly. I mean, I think that even before that, though, you have to come up with a concept of what that looks like in your life, like what it is it that you want. Because I can assist somebody as long as they have an idea of what they want, and then we can help them get it. But it sounds like you're not quite there yet, as far as where you want to be. Still got a lot
Well,
of questions.
I started relying on the money that they give me every month, and that's what all I settle for.
When you say
Um,
they, who's they? Who's they gives you money?
my mother is a trust. They
Okay,
actually 30,000. Well, actually, I've been there 2 years, and I've been getting $30,000 a year.
okay. So why not take that money and look at it from a standpoint of possibly
Well,
reinvesting it?
I started drinking too much, and I had to stop drinking because it's got a lot of bad
Well, I mean,
effects.
that's a totally different problem that needs to be addressed. I mean, it sounds to me like you've got a couple different issues
Well,
that need to be addressed.
but but I was in rehab before I
Okay.
came here. You know,
Okay.
I went into rehab before I came here. And then um, that was so yeah. So they were gonna let me. They knew that I'm drinking. They knew that I'm drinking. She knew that I'm drinking. You know,
Right.
and I started drinking, a lot, and I was drinking all over my emotional stuff.
Right.
And
Well,
I
I
didn't.
think you probably need to get that under control. Start
Right.
to like I said, you need to have some self worth, and you need to get rid of the idle time. Sounds to me like you have a lot of idle time, which is probably allowing you to spend more time drinking and doing things that are
Well,
not
there's
as
a clubhouse.
productive.
Clubhouse that has a lot. They have a lot of activities going on. But I'm only 59. I still have a lot of things. When I first got here, I was really upset at how that I was treated, how they talked to me, and everything.
Sure.
I was really upset. I was very upset.
Okay. I
I
understand.
didn't.
So
I didn't want to be here and go to the clubhouse and just go swimming. I wanted. I got to get to my North Node, which is my cancer North Node, which is I want to do something to make an impact.
excellent. Well, I'll tell you what. Why don't you do this? I mean, you can if you want to set up a time to speak with me, we could do a 20-minute kind of strategy session. I'm happy to go through that with you, and we can go from there. But I need to close things down for this evening. I do appreciate your feedback, and I've enjoyed sharing with everyone this evening. Again, I'll be doing this next week, and we'll be talking about your mission and how we're going to
Okay.
move forward. And I want everyone to have.
Oh, you're right. I don't have to have my career. I need to get yes. It doesn't matter what age you are, because somebody was giving me the stigma. Oh, you're too old and all this stuff. I said, no, I'm not too old. I said, age is just a number.
That's correct. Absolutely. Well,
And
thank you.
and I was getting this negative feedback when I was even before I got here. Oh well, you should just get into a hobby or something. No, I'm not ready to. I'm not done with my life yet. I'm only 59. I got 30 more years. I got things I want to do to make a difference.
Absolutely. All right. Well,
That's the negative stuff that I was getting. That's why I need to leave from here because of the negative.
sure. Absolutely. Well, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it. And we're going to sign off for now. We'll talk to you next week. And like I said, if you want to speak with me personally, we could certainly do that. Thanks, everyone, and have a fantastic day. So long.